We got a signing, Broncos country. A very sneaky signing. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Musa, and on today's episode, we're going to break down the most recent addition to the Denver Broncos roster, Mr. Mario Goodrich. Now, before we do that, this is why you subscribe, right? Every single Broncos move that happens, we're going to be here covering it just for you. So do me a favor, scroll on down while you're listening to me talk, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and it won't cost you a dime ever. So we promise that. It's a guarantee. All right, Mr. Mario Goodrich. And I'm sure you're like, who the hell is this guy? Well, he's a former UDFA out of Clemson. By the way, a national champion with the Clemson Tigers back in 2018, signed with the Eagles as a UDFA during that draft. He was previously with the Birmingham Stallions this last year, only played in 6 games for them, but for a pretty decent, we'll call it like a 3/4 season, because I don't know how many games they play in the UFL. I'm going to be completely... 8? Is it really 8? So he played almost all of the games then. That's pretty fine. He was a part of the Eagles and the Giants practice squads, by the way, before he signed with the Birmingham Stallions. And look, for the 6 games that he played, I'm not even going to, bullshit you. These are pretty okay numbers. Now, the one thing I do want to highlight is the 3 forced fumbles. He's a hard-hitting player. I mean, he throws around that 6-foot frame like nobody's business. He's just throwing his body into people, slamming into dudes, making sure that those forced fumbles are, a part of his game. So I do want to at least briefly mention where he fits in with the Broncos, because the truth is this is most likely a practice squad player. I'm not going to, pretend that this is an amazing signing, but something that could add a nice little depth piece for the Broncos is something that I believe, you can never have too much of. You can never have too much depth. Now, his player profile from everything that I've seen and that I've read is that he's a hard-hitting quarterback who is not afraid of contact and can actually, when he's in the game, make a difference in run-stop coverage. He's not going to do much for you, one-on-one. In fact, his pass covering skills are pretty abysmal. Don't, pay attention to that 5 pass breakups that he had in the USFL. It's a much worse league. So the quarterback play is not nearly good enough, not nearly what you would even see from a backup in the NFL. And Mike Kliss did a really good job of breaking down what he believes the Broncos cornerback situation looks like right now. He's clearly well behind guys like Chris Abrams-Drain and Damari Mathis. So I don't see in a world in which he competes for a starting spot on this roster or even a backup role on this roster. This is clearly just going to be a body for the practice squad. And make no mistake about it, practice squad players get called up all the time. If there's an injury, God forbid, to anybody that I just previously mentioned, he would be the first name you probably call up. He's got experience with practice squads before in the NFL and had a pretty okay season last year in the USFL. So it's a guy that, or the UFL, whatever it is, it's a guy that obviously could just become an extra body for the Broncos. And clearly they saw some value in him enough to where they said, we like the way you play. You're aggressive, kind of what Vance Joseph has been preaching, that he wants this defense to kind of look like, while he's here with the Broncos, is ultra-aggressive, hard-hitting players. So this could just be a really nice piece for the Broncos to add as a depth piece. Nothing wrong with it. Do you like the signing? Yes or no? I can't ask you to grade it because, let's be honest, it's like an incomplete grade. You never really would know. So I'll give it a yes simply because I like adding depth pieces on the defense, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. All right, I want to flip over to something that I feel like a lot of people have been kind of debating in the comment sections on the last couple of videos, and that is Riley Moss and where he fits. Is he the quarterback too? Is Jahdae Barron going to end up taking his role? What does this look like going forward? And I'm going to break it all down and what Sean Payton said about Riley Moss coming up here in just a second. But before we do that, make sure you get this Bo Nix tee. I'm shoving it down your throat this week, guys. I want to see as many people checking this shirt out out as possible. So all you got to do, use the link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video, chatsports.com/Bo Nix T, and start shopping today. Even if you don't buy this specific item, you can absolutely find your favorite Broncos gear over at Fanatics. So thank you so much to Fanatics, I should say, for sponsoring today's video. Chatsports.com/Bo Nix T. Okay, so Sean Payton was talking a little bit about Riley Moss, and this is like the only thing that I could actually find before he went on to a different talking point, was he, talking about Riley Moss, rose to the occasion last year playing on the opposite end of Patrick Surtain, which is no easy feat considering Pat Surtain is the best cornerback in the league. Shout out to Jeremy Chuggs on the ones and twos who believes it's Derek Stingley. But he's an extremely smart player, Payton went on to say, and he's having a very good offseason. And look, I'm not going to pretend that Riley Moss is God's gift to corners, because the truth is he's not. And let's look at the elephant in the room. He's white. So it's a very rare position for a white guy to play. But I will say this, for the production that we've seen on the field from him and, kind of the player that he's kind of carved himself out for the Broncos, I don't have any issue with him as my starting outside cornerback too. Now, my biggest fear is that he's going to have to prove himself this year because of what you brought in the draft, and that's Jahdae Barron. And I know Jahdae plays the slot corner as his primary spot. That's where he's most comfortable. However, the truth is that with Sean Payton claiming that Jahdae will play both inside and outside, that, to me, puts a target on Riley Moss's back and says, look, you got to show us that you're worthy of that starting CB2 spot. Otherwise, your position is up for grabs. And that's how it works with every position in the NFL. You draft guys to supplant the players that aren't living up to the snuff. And I'm not saying that Riley hasn't. I'm just saying that if you want to be elite, Jahdae Barron could be elite. We've already kind of seen what Riley Moss is, and that's competent. So the truth is that with the upside that Barron brings you, I'm not entirely sure that Riley Moss is going to have, a spot as that starting CB2 for the entirety of the 2025 season. Before I continue on, we are 41 subs away from beating the June subscriber record. 525 is the number. So do me a favor. Go down, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and if you have, type me in the comment section, take two, section, so I know who the real ones are. All right, back more on Jahdae Barron. Again, when you draft someone who plays a slot corner at pick number 20, he's obviously a plug-and-play starter from day one. And again, if I'm looking back right now at the depth chart, the only reason I don't have Barron in at 1 or 2, well, he can't be 1 because Pat Surtain is there. But the reason I don't have him as number 2 is because we haven't seen him play a single spot yet or snap yet. But I also don't know if he's going to start at CB2 or if he's going to start in the slot with Jaquan McMillan's spot. So, Sean Payton really hasn't told us. He basically just said he's going to play both. So I don't know where I can put him right now. My guess is that it's going to be the slot. And, that's his primary, position. But there is a world where Barron starts as CB2 week 1. I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. That's not a crazy thought. Riley Moss could be on the bench week 1 as a rotational piece. That doesn't mean he won't get into the game. But just keep an eye out on this because this is going to be a storyline going forward as we get into training camp. So I'm going to ask you to pick a cornerback 2 for me. Riley Moss or Jahdae Barron. This is the outside corner position, not the slot corner. Who would you start if you had to, gun to your head, right now, week 1? I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to go Jahdae. I think because the reason you drafted him, his ability to do it in coverage and be a ball hawk type of player with the physicality that he already brings, that versatility is going to go unmatched. So I'm going to say Jahdae Barron for sure. All right, before I end today's episode, Told you guys I would do it. Special shout-outs for my Twitter followers, for everybody who tagged me yesterday after copying the link of yesterday's video to their X pages. So shout-out to James Jam, Aiden Simps, that's a crazy name, Honey Bear 60, and Bronco Tide. You are all real ones. Appreciate the follow and for giving me a shout-out on Twitter. Thought I'd shout you out as well. That's going to do it for us on today's episode. So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, be cool.